Quarter time, action-packed at Etihad Stadium. Brendan Goddard with a knee issue won't take any further part, and either will Adam Sard after being hit off the ball by Nathan Brown. Going off on the motorised wagon. He does seem to be okay, though. It's Essendon 5-3-33, St Kilda 4-4-28. Billings has got 2, but the Bombers lead by 5. Here's Chris Judd and Nate Brown.
Well, I think we're in for a pleasant surprise, Nate Brown. I think it's going to be a good game of footy. Saints have started well. They've created some turnovers from Essendon's ball movement, who are trying to be really aggressive and bringing the ball through the corridor, which is how they've chosen to play in the second half of the year. But Saints are defending well. Jack Billings has been notable. 10 disposals and 2 goals, so he's on track, Howie, for a 40 disposal, 8-goal game. We'll see how that pans out. Sinclair had plenty of the ball for the Saints as well.
Yeah, the clearance work is what's worrying me at the moment. I mean, that they can be 2 men down all night, the Bombers, but if they continue to win the clearances and with the ease they're doing at the moment, the game starts in their half of the ground, which is always hard for a side to win the footy back and go forward. They need to start to get those clearances right in the middle of St Kilda if they're going to have a big shot.
Triple M Bosch Tools stats, Bosch Power Tools and Accessories, good better Bosch.
And the inside 50 is 20-11 Essendon's way, and Brownie, yeah, those clearances 13-5 the Bombers' way.
Thank you. Bob Jane T-Marts, Jay-Z and the Doc. Any further word on Brendan Goddard?
No, not entirely sure at this stage, Howie. Hoping to receive some sort of confirmation from Essendon throughout the second quarter about the extent of the injury to his right knee. Certainly we hope for his case it isn't too bad. He has taken the ice off that right knee, so hopefully that is a good sign. But as you said, Essendon down 2 men on the bench. It will be interesting to see how they can run out this game. Adam Sard down in the rooms, knocked out, and BJ Goddard done for the night also with a right knee issue.
Hey, can I come back downstairs? Just wondering if I can have a quick chat to the Doc, Jay-Z. And I know you'd be very reluctant, Doc, to speculate. It's the last thing I'm going to do for Brendan Goddard and his family, but you've seen so many of these injuries before. How worried are you about an ACL?
Well, look, you talked about Nick Riewoldt before. The thing that hurt Brendan was the bone bruise. When the bone impacts on the bone, that's what hurts. The ligament tearing doesn't actually hurt, believe it or not. So I've no doubt that he's got a bone bruise in there that's caused his symptoms. Hopefully the ligament's intact, Luke.
Good stuff, Doc. Let's hope that is the case. It'll be tragic end for Brendan Goddard if it's not to be. Free kick's been paid the Bombers' way. Orazio's got it. They're going to go forward now. Zach Merritt pushed hard, just to the edge of 50. Ducks back inboard on his left foot. Big Belcho's down there. Little Chambers, McDonald, Tippman, Woody got it front and centre. Got boot to ball, real up and under job. Didn't carry the journey, and in the end off hands. And the first score of the second quarter is a minor one. Goes the way of Essendon. 5-4-34 the Bombers, 4-4-28. The Saints. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
Jimmy Webster, courageous in the back pocket in the first quarter, running back with a flight, attempting to take a spectacular mark. He bounced straight up, and he's got this kick in from fullback, sends it down the line. Membry gets a little important tap forward to his own advantage. He's hassled off the footy by the Bombers, and the ball's taken across the wing, directly in front of Jay-Z and the Doc by Billings, who kicked 2 goals in the first term. Essendon at 34, St Kilda at 28. And that's all in the Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard. Tradies head into a Beaumont tile store to find out how you could get a free tool bag. What would you put in yours, Das?
Some tools, Howie.
What type?
Sort of a drill. A couple of screwdrivers. For Nath Brown, and they're going to come after him here because he dropped Zach Merritt to the ground. Nath Brown is the man who cleaned up Sard.
And in for a penny, in for a pound, Duke. The fact that he's already got a target on his back, there's no reason he should change his behaviour and not try and be a physical player for the rest of this game.
Used to be a bit of the old school mentality, wasn't it? Someone who knew they were going to get a couple of weeks back in the day. Used to say, oh, well, we might as well go clean up a few others now. Not sure that's Nath Brown's go. Got our own Nath Brown back here. There's a lot of Nath Browns around, isn't there?
There is.
How's that sort of gone for you over the journey?
Oh, there's a lot of imitators out there, Duke. There's a lot of hangers on.
You're the original, are you, mate?
And the best.
Armitage.
That's a horrible kick.
That is. It's aggressive, but it's made really good by the Saints and Steele as they go inside 50. And that is a good lead by Gresham, who marks low and hard. And he got rolled into the back by Ben McNeice, and Gresham will have a shot from about 30, not too much angle. Bob Jane T-Marts, Jay-Z.
Adam Sard's back on the bench. Fellas just sipping on some water. Looking pretty groggy, it's fair to say. He's done for the night with concussion.
Okay, so there'll be 2 down for the duration of the game, Jay-Z. And Gresham, powerfully built man, big quads on him. There's a slight bit of angle, but the kick's only from 30 metres. They've had their problems the last couple of years in front of goals. The Saints improves the angle, runs around a little bit, and then hooks it rather badly in the end, and it's just a behind. So St Kilda only trail 5-4 to 4-5, 5 points on your Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard.
I'm going to put this to you for Brendan Goddard, Duke. The fact that he is icing it and compressing that leg proves that they don't think it's an ACL, because if it was, they wouldn't bother.
Yeah,
so just roll that around.
It's a good theory, Judge. I've been thinking the same thing. It does make a bit of sense, doesn't it?
Well, why didn't you come up with it then?
Oh, I just like to leave the Seabus Supers to
because
a couple of men in the back.
About 20 minutes ago, you had him out for the season.
I suppose the question.
And now the judge has come up with a better idea.
We'll see. We're not hoping that is the case, but we're hoping that he's going to be fine. Coming through again, the Saints are in good touch here. Akers, Membry dives. Oh, almost could have been paid the mark. Cleverly slapped it back to Armitage, who went with a polyfarmer handball to Gresham. 25 metre. That's the handball of the year, Howie.
It is.
It's the best handball of 2018. Gresham gets the goal. Saints get the lead. They lead it by a point. Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. What about that, Brownie?
You summed it up beautifully, Duke. That is the best handball I've seen this year. Yep. It was 25 metres to a man running into a goal square. Not a great kick, Armitage, but when he handballs, I tell you what, he can cut you up.
I reckon he forced Gresham to run there. I don't think Gresham even really thought he was on there. He just put the handball out there and forced Gresham to make it, and that was brilliant, Duke. Could be the Macca's moment of the day. I'm not ruling it out.
I think you're onto something. On Brownlow, we have goal of the year, we have mark of the year. Maybe it's time to instigate the handball of the year.
It'll be the Polyfarmer Award. And let's go to the Chemist Warehouse replay, Judge. Just give this a little bit of what it needs.
Well, it was about 30 metres, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gresham wasn't even in the screen.
Didn't break stride.
When Armitage handballed that, it was a low, punchy handball, and that was absolutely outstanding.
I don't reckon I've oversold that, Howie.
No.
On replay, it was better.
No. It was a good handball, a good call.
It went longer than I thought, too.
Yep.
Well, give me a guesstimate of the distance. No?
I reckon about 28 metres.
Okay.
It didn't go above head height, Howie. It was flat.
So it was a rocket. So Juddy, as he does on the Triple M Seabus Supers, with St Kilda leading by a point, has gone with the Saints are in this, and that's what you get on a Friday night on Triple M football.
It's ramming home the point. Many thought they wouldn't be in this position, but they are, Howie.
To Akers. Now Ross, as Heppel floats back. No, you're right, many didn't, Juddy, which is probably why he went the Bombers by 62 points pre-game. But currently the Saints lead it by a point, 35 to 34, with the ball on the outer pocket.
We all tipped Essendon, Harry. Let's not start getting nasty.
I'm not getting nasty. I do hear the ad saying join the Friday night team. I'm not aware of the team.
Nath Brown, is that interesting night out there, the big St Kilda defender?
Sounds like someone's sooking up. They're not in the promos again.
It does sound suspiciously like that. Picked up by Seb Ross, game 100. Saints right on, they lead it here. Armitage, Billings, looped a little handball back to Armitage, who under pressure went the barrel, and it's all working for the Saints. Membry comes out just inside the square. He's a long kick. He's got a lead from Gresham. He's got big Rowan Marshall down there. Decides he's going to go to the little man. He's a good player, Gresham. And he outpointed his man. Plays on Gresham in the one motion. And nicked the post.
I think he thought that was touched, Gresham. That's the explanation I'll go with as to why he played on.
Launching a few theories tonight, the judge.
I thought it was touched.
Well, I don't think it was, though, was it?
Well, I thought it was, and I'm deducing that Gresham thought it was too.
Deducing?
Because he shouldn't have played on there.
And the ball's close to the boundary line, and it goes across with Geary and Merritt. Essendon 34, St Kilda 36 for the Bombers without Sard and Goddard for the rest of the night.
It's an interesting time. They don't have the rotations, but at this stage of the game, it shouldn't be affecting them. It looks like it is. I think they've gone in, they've realised they're two men down. They're playing like that at the moment.
Geary ducks into a tackle. Now Myers just sends a ball in hope down the wing. Really good mark by Stringer, who's having a good back half of the year. He's got one option forward. That's Fantasia. Carlisle drops back in the hole, comes to Collier, gets his head over the footy. Can he release it? He does part of the job. Now Akers with a hopeful hand pass as well. And they should get out of this, the Saints, through Jimmy Webster.
Been very, very good Blake Akers in this game so far. Tuman, what's his numbers been, please?
Yeah, 7 disposals, 100% by foot.
Seb Ross, Webster, back in board. There is again Akers. Flicks it out to Billings. Handball over the top. Big Rowan Marshall's got to bend down the big man. Did it pretty well. Short pass was the right one, and Membry within range is going to go back and have a set shot.
Spreading the Bombers the well at the moment, the Saints, aren't they? They're going from one side of the ground to the other, using the complete width and just using every bit of space on this ground. And their skills are a lot better than what they have been in previous weeks. They didn't give that ball up the whole length.
It's one of the great adjustments of the year, I reckon. Tim Membry was 6-15 in the first 9 rounds goal kicking. Since then, he's gone 24-9. Worked his routine out, Howie. Pretty hard to do sometimes mid-year. This one's going to take pretty good effort right on the 50-metre line. Not really an angle to worry about, and that was always going to miss after that. Through for a minor score. 5-7-37, the Saints. 5-4-34, Essendon. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
74% by foot, the Saints, and the Bombers are going at 57.
He was so accurate in the leading seasons as well, Tim Membry. It was just a little aberration dust.
Was.
But he turned it round, as you said, the big man from Traralgon. Tip and Woody caught in a tackle by Armitage. The Saints are pushing here. They're just outside their attacking 50. McGrath works hard on top of the footy. Dyson Heppel takes it across the line. 70 around from his defensive goal. Here's the two man with the Bob Jane T-Mart stats.
Yeah, inside 50s this quarter. 6-2 St Kilda's way, but the uncontested ball is 28-11 the Saints' way.
That'll be the Triple M Bosch Tool stats. Bosch Power Tools and Accessories. Good, better Bosch. And Bob Jane, you got the Doc and Jay-Z down there on the boundary.
And they had a pretty busy night down there, Doc and Jay-Z. Just give a little update again down there, boys, on what's happened so far tonight, if you could, please.
Yes, Duke. Adam Saad done for the night with a heavy concussion, hit by Nathan Brown, certain to get weeks at the tribunal. And Brennan Goddard ice on his right knee, done for the night. We hope it's not a season-ending ACL.
Thanks, Jay-Z. Here's Collier running himself in a bit of trouble through the corridor of Etihad Stadium. Heppel to McGrath, back to Michael Hurley. Hurley's got the match up on Membry. How much of the footies Michael Hurley had?
4 marks and 5 disposals.
It's a good job, Membry, because we know how Michael Hurley is such a high possession defender, and Membry's been dangerous and Hurley hasn't had an impact. It's a big win for the Saints. Francis has impressed us tonight. He goes short, still inside defensive 50, finds Heppel.
It was a good kick finding Heppel. There wasn't much space to hit him, and he did. Heppel bites off a fair bit, really sets a task to Tip and Woody, gets away from him. Now Freeman in his second game. Great to see him out there. How's he going tonight, Chew?
Freeman for Bosch Tools, 5 disposals and a couple of marks.
And the ball goes to Seb Ross right in front of Jay-Z and the Doc. Tip and Woody stands the mark. Essendon a 5-4, St Kilda a 5-7, leading by 3 points with 12 and a half to go before the major break.
Going to try and get this one out the other side here, the Saints. They've queued up. Armitage sends it City side. They've transferred it all the way out. Good kick. McKenzie now, he's a left footer, worked it really well to Geary. Just outside his range, going to kick it to the goal square. Billings is going to take a big mark. He's done it, Billings. Oh, wow. It looked like a mark for all measure. Picked up by Loney, kick smothered. The Bombers defence having to work overtime here. Zach Merritt picks it up at half back, and they will get it out towards Langford, who took a good mark.
Really clever kick by Merritt. Langford was surrounded by a couple of Saints, and again, it was an accurate kick. This is good through the middle of the ground. Zaharakis, Collier takes on Geary with one bounce. Long ball looking for home. Off target. Far side, one behind. Good build up from the Bombers. Essendon 35, St Kilda 37, and it did get away from Billings on the Triple M Chemist Warehouse replay. Chemist Warehouse, the real house of fragrances.
2-point lead to the Saints, about the halfway mark of the second term. Saints really putting up a good challenge, picked up by McGrath. Parrish's little chipping kick's going to be okay, and Kyle Langford within range can go back and have a shot. 13 games he's played this year, and the Bombers have won 9 of those games.
Great vision on that occasion from Parrish. I mean, they're not getting a lot of looks at it in their second quarter, the Bombers, and what they do, they have to take advantage of, and that was very nice poise.
Big opportunity for the number 4, made famous in recent times by Joe Watson, of course. 191 centimetre, deceptively tall Kyle Langford. Pretty important player to the Bombers for me, and that kick wasn't ever a chance. Thinks he's marked it down there, Carl Hooker. Goal umpire's got other ideas. That'll be behind. So it's a 1-point ball game. The Saints in the lead. Triple M Beaumont tile scoreboard.
Bailey Rice to bring the ball back in from fullback. 10 and a half to go before half time. St Kilda 37, Essendon 36. Well done by Devon Smith, one of the recruits of the year. Makes up ground and punches it across the line. 70 around from his attack and goal.
I don't think there's been a better recruit this year, Howie. Fantastic.
He has. What's impressing you, Chewy?
Definitely St Kilda, the uncontested ball starting to blow out 21-11 in terms of those handball received.
Who needs to get going on the Triple M Bosch tool stat sheet? Bosch Power Tools and Accessories. Good, better, Bosch.
In this quarter for the Bombers, Zach Merritt with only 3 disposals and also Zaharakis with only 2.
Okay, Chewy. What do you think of the crowd? Do you think we're somewhere around the mid-30s?
Yeah, that average, I reckon, 35,000.
Okay, Chewy, one of the best crowd estimators in the caper. Now, this is good by the Saints and Steele. They work it tightly along the boundary line towards the wing. Good mark by Freeman over the top of Collier. He immediately plays on. It was a difficult one. It just got in the front of Nunes, who had to stop and prop and wait for the ball. And they'll go back to Freeman, who takes off a bit in the middle of the ground.
Good to see the first game of Big Patton get involved in that one. Oh, well done. Superb effort, Devon Smith. The number 1 tackler in the game. He's turned it over. Heppel outside 50. He wanted Hooker. Carlisle back there. Not a great kick from Heppel. Hooker did really well, though. Takes on Carlisle. Carlisle ran back and got him. The old teammates doing battle. Seb Ross's kick down the line. The big man, Lewis Pearce, kept it in. Thought that was certainly out of bounds. No, said the boundary umpire. Now Seb Ross got to think his way through it. Kick looks like it's going to land, and does land in the lap of Dev Smith.
To the exciting McKenna. He drives a long ball deep into the pocket for the Bombers. What a mark that is by Hooker. He just pushed off Carlisle, a former teammate. Let him know about it. And Big Kale, who spent a bit of time forward in the last 7 or 8 minutes, will try and snap it round the corner from 15 to the boundary line. This to open up a 5-point lead. He's kicked it. Good finish, Kale Hooker. Essendon hit back. 6-6-42, St Kilda 5-7-37. The Bombers 5 to the good. 8:48 on the clock before the major break on the Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. Tradies head into a Beaumont Tiles store to find out how you could get a free tool bag.
Intelligent kick by McKenna, just to the advantage side of Hooker. Very hard to beat one-on-one. He's one of the strongest players pound for pound in the game, Kale Hooker.
He's an elite mark. Interesting they've moved him forward and what that says about their ball movement, whether or not they're going to stop their forwards pushing all the way up the ground and back, whether they're going to have a stay-at-home forward line, seeing as they're down the 2 rotations.
Couple of Brownlows, all Australians everywhere in the back row. The Seabus Super special comments. Seabus Super with insurances that protect building and construction workers. Nath Brown and Chris Judd back there, of course. As always on a Friday night, this has been a good contest so far. 5-point lead of the Bombers. Here come the Saints. Kick around the body from Akers, though. Wasn't really where he wanted it to go. Mark taken by Zaharakis. Short to Darcy Parish. Zaharakis gets it back. Stringer with strength. Got rid of Bailey Rice. Put the big hand in the chest, and Jake Stringer's got goals in mind.
He's going to kick from 55 out, Duke, but I reckon he's just about got the distance in him here. It wouldn't surprise me to see him wheel around slightly off the mark and get the journey.
187 career goals. Jake Stringer in his 106 games. 4 of the past 6 games, he's kicked 3 goals or more. So starting to get rolling, Jake Stringer. Really steady, balanced approach. Takes the full journey. Distance was not an issue at all. Kicked it well over the boundary line, but just missed to the near side. 43-37. Bombers by 6 points. Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
Jody, just expand on what you were saying about what Essendon could potentially try and do up forward with 2 rotations down.
Well, the fact that they've moved Hooker there suggests that maybe they're not going to roll up all the way towards their back line quite as aggressively and then run back Pagan's Paddock style in their forward line. Perhaps they're signalling they want him to not interchange too much, spend the majority of the time on the ground, and he's going to play more of a stay-at-home forward role, seeing as they are down 2 rotations.
I love it. That's your Triple M Seabus Super special comments. Seabus Super with insurance to protect building construction workers. You got the 2 best in Nate Brown and Chris Judd on a Friday night. Freeman does well, finds a little bit of space, looks like a player. Gives it to Ross. Little Jackie Stephen, the Lawn Express on the right foot. A little bit too much on it, but really well done. The man that got it out the back was Patton on debut. He drives it long, but it's punched across the boundary line. 3 metres around from the Saints' goal. They trailed this one by a goal with 7 on the clock. That is all on your Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard before half-time.
Close to 33,000 in the house. On Friday night at Etihad Stadium, the Bombers are a mathematical chance. They need to get everything right. They need a whole heap of luck as well. They're in a contest here. Billings kick smothered off the boot. Started the first quarter The couple of goals and plenty of the footy. Heppel under pressure. Wants McGrath. Jack Stephen edged him off the footy. We're inside the forward 50 for the Saints. At the Lloyd end, the umpire let it go a long time. McGrath eventually got boot the ball straight into the lap, along, twisting and turning, long for the Saints. Floating ball, boundary line side. Picked up again by McGrath. Dumps this one out of his defensive zone. Out the back, Membry's back there. Oh, handball wasn't great. Missed the target. Live footed me one. Long gets it back to Membry.
Rice absolutely belted by Tippin Wood. He spills free to Dev Smith. This is problems. He's got Stringer, delays the hand pass. If Jake gets it, he'll want a shot, but he's run down brilliantly from behind. Good tackle by the Saints defenders. We'll get to
Webster.
Jay-Z. It was Jimmy Webster. Thanks, Nate. Bob Jane T-Marts. Jay-Z.
Yeah, great news for Essendon, fellas. The footy club has just tweeted that Brendan Goddard has hyperextended his knee. It's stable, but they won't risk it. So that rules out an ACL. Just a hyperextension for Brendan Goddard. Great news.
Yeah, great news indeed, Jay-Z.
We already broke that a little bit earlier in the back row, Howie.
You did?
I think you find I was all over
You had him in the commentary box with us next week, Darth. As the ball goes inside 50 again for the Bombers. Bell Chambers, big, strong man, free kick. Going the way of the Saints, and Armitage will take the advantage.
Oh, another Bomber down behind play. Langford will get down to Jay-Z in the dock. That will be just devastating. If it looks a bit collarbone-ish, Doc. Jay-Z, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's Kyle Langford coming off now. Looks like a left AC joint, Doc.
Yeah, it looks like it's what he's grabbing for, and he's certainly holding his arm. But there's always the risk of a little crack in the collarbone. That's the problem with these ones.
Yeah, we saw the Giants play with 16 men last week, given he just had no fit players out there. Armitage on the wing. It's a good ball. Back in board. Oh, Pearce's kick has found Freeman, had his head taken off, and Finney.
Let's go.
Against Fantasia. Kyle Langford makes his way off. That could potentially be 3 men down.
He's not coming back on, Darth.
Not the way he's holding his arm.
How he's called it. We might go to the Dr. Judge in a minute and see what he thinks.
Well, big free kick there by Orazio Fantasia, as his name is correctly pronounced, as we discovered during the week. And I think it was there, Harrow. I think it was late and a deserving penalty.
So Nathan Freeman, for his first goal in AFL football, spent 5 years on 2 lists at the Pies and the Saints without being able to play. And now Nathan Freeman, well done, young man. First goal in the game, and every player from the Saints gets around him. They all give him a pat on the head. Great story of perseverance and a great story for the Saints. We're locked away at 6-7-43 apiece on the Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
Big lump of a lad, Nathan Freeman. Brownie looks nice and strong and ready to go. One of the advantages of playing so much extensive footy in the VFL is that he's ready to go at this level. But they just look like they're getting a lot of energy. We saw Freeman kick his first goal. Every player on the ground ran and got to him. And you contrast that with Essendon, who are losing players by the minute. And I think we could be in store for an upset here.
Doc, if Langford didn't have a problem with his arm, he will have by the time with Doc Reed finishes with him.
He's got him in the full Nelson at the moment.
Yes,
Looks like he's whiplashed his neck, and it could have been just a nerve pain down into his shoulder. Interesting, Howie.
Good news. Steele, hopefully he comes back on. Freeman for the second in the space of 30 seconds. Hangs it out right. And it's through for one behind. So the Saints doing all the attacking. They are 8-6 at this stage. 6-8, in fact. 44. Essendon are 43 with 4.5 on the clock as Langford goes down the runes. But his arm does look a lot freer than it was, Dars.
Given you wound him up for the night, Howie, a minute ago.
Crack collarbone you gave it, wasn't it?
We've been a bit hasty tonight. You said Goddard to be joining us in commentary next week.
There is Zach Merritt at half back. He chips this one down the line. Heppel stood under a high ball with great courage, as he always does. Took strong mark, comes back inboard to Mitch Brown.
Broke my own rule there, Dars. I did learn on the boundary, never commit one way 100%
Always
in
leave
either
the door
direction.
open.
Absolutely.
Transfer it back, the Bombers, to Hurley. Now to Mark Bagley. We have got 4 minutes until the half-time break, and scores are level, 43 apiece. In fact, so the Saints kicked a point, so they're up by the one behind. And now the Bombers with Myers ball in hand, and they are just happy to try and edge their way forward at the moment.
I did learn that in my first game on the boundary, Dars, with Ash Hansen when he had a slight finger issue, and I said he'd be right to come on in the second half. He missed 12 straight weeks with it, Dars. Was my introduction to the job. Ball inside 50. Bell Chambers on a strong lead, and Mark got the hands out in front. And it's a strong mark. As Langford looks $1 million down there on the boundary, and Bell Chambers can have a shot from about 45 out. And he lines up, plays on, and the goal is kicked. He dished it off in the end, and it was beautifully finished by McKenna, was it?
It was McKenna.
And Essendon kicked their 7th. They're 7-7-49. St Kilda 6-8-44. 5-point lead to the Bombers on the Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. A lot happening at the moment.
A little bit of lax defence there by the Saints, but by the same token, Bell Chambers was only kicking the ball from about 45 metres, Nate Brown, so you were probably within your eyes to expect him to go back and have a shot for goal from there. But nonetheless, Alan Richardson to be disappointed that they weren't fully switched on there and they just switched off for that minute, and that opened the door up for McKenna to have a running shot.
Tell us a bit more about that Ashley Hansen story. That was a ripper.
No, Nate, I think I got that one out. I think that was the same day that Juddy and Campbell Brown tangled, to be honest.
Yeah.
Down there was it in Tassie?
That was in Tassie.
Yeah.
That by Jack Stephen. What were you thinking? Getting a fight with Campbell Brown, Judge? Probably wasn't your choice.
No, it wasn't my choice. I thought it was probably Campbell's fault in the end.
Dyson Hebbel lets one rip from outside 50.
That's when he lied for you at the tribunal, wasn't it? And got suspended.
Look, Campbell did what he thought was right, and I think the outcome was fair in the end. No weeks for Judge and 20k lighter for Campbell. So
After you eye gouged him.
that worked for me. I gave him a bit of feedback, Howie. That's what we used to call it back then.
50 plays
Gave
44.
him the long arm of the law.
Or the thumb in the eye.
Lead to the Bombers. That's right, Brownie mistook for him and got done for life.
That's right.
Let's not
Judge
get
got
bogged
off.
down in minutiae.
Eye
We can get back
gouging.
to the game, Howie. Let's not turn this into the Chris Judd reunion story.
Rowan Marshall takes a strong mark.
As long as Hansen got back.
He did, 12 weeks later, Nate. Oh, that's a funny old kick back defensively, but it works okay. Jimmy Webster, been a great player the last 2 seasons for the Saints. Oh, it's got away from Bailey Rice. This could cause problems because it falls to Stringer, who ignores all attempts to extract the hand pass out of him and hooks it round the corner. And that's a bad error by the Saints in defence. And Essendon kicked 2 in a short space. They move along to 56. St Kilda 2 goals back on 44 on the Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard.
It was a nice finish by Stringer. It was an okay kick by Jimmy Webster. The player on the outer side had a little bit more time than what he probably thought. He just fumbled. I mean, the kick would have been a lot better if it had hit him, but I reckon he still had enough time. It was just a poor mistake by Rice, and as you called it, had a couple of players to give that handball to Stringer, but backed himself in to kick the left foot, snap across the body, and he's looked good tonight, Stringer.
Triple M Rocks footy, thanks to McDonald's, our marquee sponsor and partner. Get into Macca's for the mini Sharon footy, just $5.95 with any purchase. Jake Stringer puts the Bombers out to a 12-point lead, 2 and a quarter minutes until half-time. They'll go forward via Zarakis, sweeping handball. Big Belcho spun out of a tackle, missed the handball completely. Now Seb Ross picks it up, kicks it inside forward 50, but the impressive Aaron Francis in the way in defence for the Bombers. Sends this one long and high and wide out to Orazio. Looked at Jack Nunes and said, I can get past you, and he did to McKenna. A couple of really quick players, McKenna and Orazio combined. 3 quick bounces. McDonald Tipperwoody was his arm chopped. I reckon Webster gave away a free kick. Now Umpire thinks that I am right. Free kick to the little man, McDonald Tipperwoody.
Yeah, he took the game on well, McKenna. They're dangerous when they got it. So obviously Sard's off the ground at the moment, but when he can run and carry with the footy from half back through the wing to half forward and then kick on the outside of the foot like that, it's very hard to defend against. So the defender becomes really concerned about the player taking an easy mark and just overcommits, and then was able to give away the free kick. So well done to McKenna. He set up this goal.
Should miss from here. Howie's just snorting alongside me at the moment. Something's really
Miss Piggy in the front row.
caught his attention. 3 goals in a row coming up for the Bombers here. McDonald Tipperwoody kicks his second. Bombers are out to an 18-point margin, 9-8-62. The Saints are 6-8-44 on the Triple M Beaumont Tiles scoreboard. Anything to share with us, Howie?
It's like you're working with 7-year-olds. Before a stat from Chew, I thought it just floated out of the ether and landed into me about disposal efficiency, but apparently it was one that Chris thought it'd be funny to place on my head and then take a photo, and the two clowns in the back row seem to think it's hilarious.
Just trying to get you a few followers on Instagram, Howie. If that means you've got to wear a couple of stats in your hair, so be it.
I did wonder where that little bit of paper came from when it just floated down.
It's been there since 10 minutes into the first quarter.
Right.
It's a little things, Duke.
I'm focused. Thank you, Chew. 18 points is a game high. I don't need that on my head, Chewy. Thank you. Essendon 62, St Kilda 44. And there's only 50 seconds to go before the halftime break. This is the Bombers with 2 down. No Sard after being concussed and knocked out by Nathan Brown. And also Brendan Goddard, who's hyperextended a knee. Was it Jay-Z? I think Jay-Z might be on the way, so we'll hear from Doc in a moment. But I think that was the end situation. So not an ACL concern for Brendan Goddard, which is fantastic news. You haven't missed anything. The ball's still in the centre of Etihad Stadium with 24 seconds on the clock.
I reckon Big Belchambers had a huge influence in this game. He's playing against the young ruckman, but the clearances the Bombers have been getting are very easy and very clear. They've been able to dispose of the football without a lot of pressure.
Wouldn't want to concede another one here, and the kick's got through to McDonald, Tip and Woody. Back-to-back goals coming up. Bombers 4 in a row. McDonald, Tipper's got 3, and that is exactly what Alan Richardson didn't want. 2 seconds until half-time, and they've gone bang, 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 and they're out to a 24-point lead now. The Bombers on the Triple M Beaumont Tile scoreboard.
He read that well, Tim, Woody, didn't he? He realised that his man Geary had gone to go third man up and assist, and he thought there's a small chance that this kick's got a little bit more on it than what they think, and he read it, I mean, a split second more than everybody else. Everybody else committed themselves 10 metres in front of him. He just stood there, hoped it got over the back. It did. He had the space. It was just beautiful reading of the agate.
Indeed it was. And now Essendon, they've kicked the last 4 goals. McKenna, Stringer, and the last 2 to the tip, and lead it by 24 points after they led by 5 points at quarter time. The ball will be bounced and the siren will go. And there it is. Up next, Jay-Z with the latest on Brendan Goddard and the hit from Nathan Brown of the Saints on Adam Sard, which saw him leave the ground on the stretcher. McDonald, Tip and Woody has kicked 3. Billings has got 2. Heppel's had 19 touches. Ross has had 21. Half-time at Etihad Stadium. Essendon lead this one 10-8, 68. St Kilda 6-8, 44 by 4 straight goals. Get into Macca's for the mini share and footy, just $5.95 with any purchase. Jay-Z next from McDonald's. Triple M rocks footy.